But before we do all of these things, Da'Sean, this is the Beers and Ball podcast.
Yes, it is.
We have beers. We're going to talk ball. So I'm going to let you do the honors first before I introduce my my cerveza over here. So what are you drinking? What are you sipping on over there?
All right, so the people that normally watch, you already know what I'm drinking. This is my Old Faithful Left. This beauty, this blonde beauty right here is what usually gets me by when I'm sitting in the house watching basketball. So I have a nice Left tonight.
There you go. All right,
Rob, yourself, because I saw that I saw the outside of that and I was curious what that was. It's the first I've ever seen it.
So it's called Impact Wrench. It's from Industrial Arts Brewing Company. I've never heard of it before. Never seen it before. Never tried it before. I've never heard of this this brewery before. So if you're in the chat and you're watching and you've heard of these guys before, like please let me know.
Please.
It's called Impact Wrench from Industrial Arts Brewery. It's a triple IPA, a triple IPA.
It's not a competition. Anyway,
it's not a competition.
This is what people are saying with less.
10% ABV. The beer's as big as my head, so you know that by the end of this, we might be getting weird on this this live stream at the end.
If I have to be the guy that rings us in, then we're in trouble. So
that's okay. We're good. You're never gonna have to rein me in, Da'Sean. You never have to rein me in. All right. So obviously 1 year ago today was the day that we found out that Rudy Gobert tested positive for the coronavirus after he did that thing where he was in a press conference and he coughed and touched all the microphones for all the reporters. And that was the same night that Fred Hoiberg on the sideline of the Nebraska-Indiana game was very, very clearly really sick. And it was something where it became this huge issue. He ended up only like having the flu or something like that, but it was
a big something completely off of the COVID topic. Yeah, he had something else.
And then Tom Hanks tested positive, and the next day is when everything really shut down. So I'll tell my story after, but tell me about like where were you, what happened, how did you find out, like what were you doing at the time? Take me through it all.
Well, I was still in season, and we saw. Obviously, we all joked about the Rudy Gobert thing, obviously not knowing how serious COVID was because of how much the downplay was. I felt like it was a big downplay about it from just regular people, maybe not the news or any doctors or anything like that, but just like the everyday person. It was kind of downplayed. It wasn't really talked about as much. And then we saw the NBA shutdown, and then we saw a college shutdown, and then we just knew like, all right, our season was getting ready to be up or end quicker than it usually would. So I would say maybe like 3 or 4 days after that, our season came to a halt and guys went home. So, you know, that was like just like it ended everyone's season. My season ended really early as well.
Did you fly back? Like, how did that work?
Yeah, it was very.
Were you wearing like one of the hazmat suits?
Yeah, so like my wife was basically like, yeah, you need to like get a mask and you need to wear some gloves. So like I was in the airport, like one of the only people in the airport with like masks and gloves on. There were people like, and not to mention you hear about this like the coronavirus and anything like that, and you're already cautious about people being near you. People are in the airport coughing and sneezing, and I'm just like, it's the most miserable I've probably been, like just sitting there wondering like, oh, does this person have it? Does this person like, because I didn't know what it was, and I didn't know like, you know, there were people apparently dying from it. It was at the time Italy was going through it like worse than anybody has, and people were like locked in their apartments, and the cities were locked down and stuff. So like that's all I had as a view of it. Like, you know, that was my point of view of it from afar. So, you know, it was pretty miserable time. And then not to mention I had to do a 2-week quarantine when I got back home. Ooh. So I like stayed in my basement when my kids are like upstairs and stuff. Like it was a hell of a summer to say the least. But yeah, that was kind of how my season ended and how my year kind of ended.
So when all of this stuff was first happening, this was when I'd started filming a show. Every Sunday night I would fly to Chicago to do the Stadium College Hoops Insider Show live on set. And We would record it on Monday. It would air Monday night, and I would fly back on Monday. And so I was on at least 2 flights every week if I wasn't going somewhere else. And the day that I flew back, I'll remember it, was March 8th. I flew because it was my daughter's birthday, and I had to fly for the last show out to Chicago. So I left like that night, got on a flight, and I just remember like progressively the flights got emptier and emptier and emptier. Like it started when I was first going, everyone, like, there were packed flights. No one cared. This was like in late January. No one cared. Like no one was worried. It was all stuff that was happening on the other side of the world. But slowly but surely, like there were fewer people on the flights and fewer people on the flights. And then the last one that I took, there were like 10 people on a 747. Like I wasn't just the only one in my row, but I was the only one in my section on either side. There was no one within like 3 seats anywhere around me. I was like, yeah, this might be kind of a big deal. And I get back on Monday night, March 9th. March 10th was a Tuesday. And then March 11th was the Wednesday when all the Rudy Gobert stuff happened. That Thursday, I was supposed to be in studio for NBC Sports to do the national broadcast for them at halftimes and in between games for the Atlantic 10 tournament, which is like a huge opportunity, right? That's the break right there. That's the big break. So I get there, and for the first day to work, and they're like, you can't shake anyone's hand, don't touch anyone, have all this hand sanitizer. And the whole time, because the night before, it had just been announced they weren't going to have any fans at any of these tournaments.
Exactly.
And the whole time, like, we're just sitting there, and I'm texting with coaches, and I'm texting with other media people, and I'm texting with administrators, and I'm texting with conference officials, and I'm just texting with people like what are we doing? We're not. There's no way we're playing. The NBA had shut down, right? There's no way that they're having the conference tournaments if the NBA is shut down. So we're sitting there waiting, and nothing has happened. Nothing is broken. Nothing has changed. We're supposed to go live at noon. It's 11:45, and that's when I get the text from somebody in the American Athletic Conference, and they're like, "We're canceling the tournament. Season's done." And that at the same time, I get the notification that like there's a tweet going out from someone saying the SEC tournament is done. They're canceling. They're done. And then it was just like a cascading flow of people that had canceled it. And I just remember it being so surreal because I'm sitting there on set live on TV, and all we're seeing are like these video clips of players warming up, getting the word that their season's done. And some of them are tears. You have seniors that are never going to be able to play college basketball again, like going and crying and hugging their parents. You see all of these people like without masks on, and now I'm just like, oh, how are you so close to someone without wearing a mask? And it was just a different time. Like we just had no idea, absolutely no idea what was going to happen. So we sat there for an hour and a half straight live. We didn't have a single commercial break. An hour and a half straight live, just talking about what had just happened, what we had just seen, getting certain people live on the broadcast, getting certain clips in there. It was like an hour and a half news segment, and then I was done, and they were like, "All right, you can go home." I was supposed to be there for 2 days.
Exactly.
Right? I was supposed to be there for 2 days. And 5 months later, I got laid off. Like that was it actually for a while, like I had trouble dealing with it because it really fucked me up. It was like, okay, this is your chance. You want break. Your career is going to skyrocket from here. And then it's fucking done. And then they're like 4 months later, like, yeah, you know what? You're fired. See ya. Fuck you. And I was like, come on, man. How about that?
Like crazy. The timing of all that stuff was like insane. I mean, it literally changed a lot of people's lives, and it changed a lot of things that they had going on. And obviously both of us in a sense. So like, and you look a year later and here we are doing pretty damn good. So there's always a little, not bad, man. Honestly, a little positive to the end of the year. That's good.
Yeah. And honestly, like I might get a little sentimental here, but I needed that to happen. For me, like I needed a change because I didn't like what I was doing anymore. Like grinding out the same shit. You do the same thing over and over and over again for 5 or 6 years, and you're gonna be sick of it. Like I wanted something new, and I tried to get other jobs. I couldn't get them, and I guess all it took was just like getting fired. Like I knew eventually, in the way that this business is headed, I was probably gonna have to go out and do something on my own if I didn't want to just kind of end like for the rest of my life be like writing blogs and doing recaps and spending every single Saturday for the rest of my life in front of a TV from 12 o'clock until 2 a.m. So I knew I was probably like, that's the only way, like I'm not a former player. There's only a certain level of access you can get if you can't, you don't have a company funding your travel all over the place. So it was kind of like it was what it was. So I knew eventually I was probably gonna have to start my own thing. And then finally this pandemic came about and they were like, yeah, you know what? You're done. So all right, now's as good of a chance as any. And it's actually worked out well. Like this thing has been significantly more successful than I thought it was going to end up being, despite the fact that I've had to spend 2 hours every week talking to you.
I mean, I'm so sorry, but I've been having a good time just looking at myself in this little box right here. So yeah, while you're talking, I'm usually just looking at myself, enjoying my commentary. So don't beat yourself.
Just trying to make sure that you're looking good. Like
just trying to check my beer from time. Yeah, just from every couple of moments or so.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that it's been this long. Like I did not expect that it would be this long.
Nah, honestly, me at all. Me as well. Excuse me. Like bro. Like I really felt like, man, January will come around and things will possibly be getting off to a better start. Like obviously because it's a new year, I'm thinking, all right, things will get off a little bit better and things will start to, I won't say open up, but be a little bit more lax. And when that didn't come, and I was, man, like you probably know, it's like you get antsy when you're just sitting at home, like not with your own thoughts. So,
well, honestly, like I never had the chance to do that because I got 2 kids. Like I spent the whole time, like the entire time that everything was shut down and the kids couldn't go to school. Like my wife was still working. She was in the like she's got her whole setup over there. So she was working like 9 to 5, 10 to 4, something like that. So I was just hanging out with the kids all day. And I'll tell you what, that was a draining experience. I have so much respect for our teachers and our daycare workers and the childcare workers like that. Woo, buddy, that was a lot of work.
It's a different experience.
Yeah, we were actually really lucky though because our neighborhood, we got it's not really a cul-de-sac, but it's like a big loop, right?
Yeah.
And there's 5 other families with kids my son's age, and all we did the entire summer was just ride bikes around in the circles, or go and like there's a pond down the street, and we would go throw rocks into the pond, or go on like the little neighborhood playground because not like 2 of them were immunocompromised, and all of them were working from home, and like we kind of joined forces on like trips to the grocery store and stuff. So like we just had our little pod. And no one did anything with anybody else, and we just rode bikes around the whole. It took my son like a week and a half to learn how to ride his bike. It was crazy,
but he got it. But he got it.
No, I'm saying like that's good. But normally it takes kids longer than that to figure it out. Like when you're out there on a bike for 6 hours a day, like
you're gonna figure it out. You're gonna figure it out.
You're gonna figure it out. So
that's figured it out by default.
and I will say this about today, because this was the first time it really felt like, I know it's been March for a while. We've had tournaments going on for a while, but like this was the first day that it really felt like March because it was 11:30 a.m. and we had West Virginia tipping off against Oklahoma State, a battle like 2 top 15 teams, a great game that turned out to be awesome. And that happened at the same time that we had Syracuse, Virginia going on. That was a great game. Kentucky, Mississippi State was I don't know if that was a great game, but it was a close game.
It was a close game, man.
Georgetown knocked off Villanova. So like that was the first time today that it was like, man, okay.
We had Patrick Ewing talking a little shit. I loved it.
Yeah,
after basket. That was awesome. I had a great day.
It really felt like today, and I swear to God, like tell me if I'm wrong on this day, and anyone listening, tell me if I'm wrong. Yeah. Today was the first day that it really felt like, okay, we're kind of getting through this. Like we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like this, like we're it took a long time, but like we got the vaccine. My wife got both her shots. Everyone in my family's got my mom, my aunts, my grandmother, my wife's parents. Everyone's got their shots. Like we're getting close to being on the other side of this thing, and it just, I don't know. Today felt whatever it was, like today felt really, really good for that reason.